Hello there, welcome back to the stream, and today we're going to be working on another new UI for the Winterreach Emporium game, a game by 4 independent devs who were looking for some UMG expertise to help them finish their project. So today we're working on that, and we're working on the delivery incoming UI here, this little 3-dot panel with X days remaining, and then the conversation I had with them was that this cart would move along this track, and maybe the graphic here, this blue graphic, would actually increment, and it would have some button to close it, as well as whatever that maybe the icon of the cart, for example, is like a little tab that you can press to slide it back out and take a look at where it's at in terms of the delivery incoming. So let's jump over to Trello, where all the assets are held. Actually, it's the Google Drive. Pardon me, it's the Google Drive. And we will get started on that. Oh. Definitely have an ache in my shoulder today, so if you see me leaning forward, please shout posture at me, and I will sit up straight. Okay, so I'm in the Google Drive here. Having a look at, we've got the little tracker here, tracker mountain, everything that says tracker. Let's just take everything that says tracker, download that. Perfect. Then, once that download is done, we'll go and pop open the folder. Let's copy all of this to our Winterreach Emporium working folder. We'll make a new folder. This will be easier. Tracking. Paste that in here. Let's zoom in. Okay, so there's that little panel. That's looking good. We've got the little cart. That's what we need. Okay, so we've got varying levels of frame. I wonder why. Let's go take a look at the original asset here. So it's got this rounded border with 0, 1, 2, 3 for days there. Okay. It's got these dotted lines in the back. It looks here like we've got the capability of having either just 1, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then I assumedly 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Is that an advert I hear right now? No, it's not. It just sudden change in music. We've got just an individual vertical dotted stripe, which we can produce with the spline widget that we added, or we can just create a new material to do that with tiling. So we're not going to import that. Tracker time background. Let's have a look at that one. Yeah, so we've got this little element here that has some text on it. So we do have that. It's got some extra padding, so let's go and fix that first. Let's just bring this over, pop this in, image, trim, and then just make sure that it's a power of, or a multiple of 2. We could go to a 172 here, just to make it a power 2, or multiple of 2. Okay, what else have we got that we might want to change? This looks reasonable, this looks reasonable, these all look reasonable, and this looks reasonable as well. Okay, let's just get all of this imported. I don't really know what I'm going to do with these day-based trackers, because the time that comes in Let's just bring them in. Let's bring them. I can't. I don't want to think about it for too long. I just want to get it done. We have this tracker grayed out here. And I think that's actually just behind it. They've said, you know, oh, there's a nice little gradient. We're going to produce that through a material instead of importing a 3840 by 2160 image. We are going to produce that through a material instead. And we're not going to import this either. But we will import the rest here. So let's go make the tracker. We've got the order log here. Let's make a new folder, tracker. Apparently some of this has already been imported. So let's find out if... Let's have a look here. Reference viewer and see if this is used. This is not used. Let's see if any of the tracker stuff is used. Tracker frame, tracker mountain, tracker time background. Let's find references to all of that. Okay, none of it is used, so that's good. Let's move all of that into our tracker folder. And then in here, let's go and re-import the one element that we actually changed. Winterreach Emporium from the working folder, exports, tracking, and we just re-import that. So that's a little bit of a nicer size. And then I don't know if I'm ever going to need these 3 elements, to be honest, but they're not going to get cooked if we don't use them. So, and we're definitely not going to use this tracker background. Let's actually create that material real quick. m_tracker_bg. I like to put UI in the title as well, mi UI. So when we see something that we think can be produced through a material, is generally a nice case for doing so. Here you can see we've got this huge texture. And we're just going to take up memory in the project for that texture that could be used for a lot of other things. So let's keep it open, but let's go and reproduce the outcome. So if we come here, turn this element into a translucent user interface and plug in the color and the opacity, this is the result that we get. And so for now, let's just put a switch param in. And we'll say, you know, new or whatever. And if it's not new, we'll use that. And if it's not new, we'll use that opacity. And now let's actually produce it ourselves. So gradient, radial gradient exponential. We've got some UVs here. We've got a radius and a density. So let's convert this to a parameter, density. Plug that in. I'm just going to say it is 2, and for the radius, convert that to a parameter, radius. You can press S and tap as well to create a parameter. So the radius for this, I think it's just 1. Might be wrong. We'll use that here. Let's just put 1 in here. So you can see this is the result that we get. So let's half this radius. And then just tick this box. Okay, we're starting to get there. We're going to need to mess with the UVs a little bit. Let's scroll this out in terms of size because it was an aspect ratio that was wider than it was tall. Let's get a color in here. We're going to need to see that color and then color pick it. Okay, color pick this gray, plug that in here. Okay, so we're getting a little bit closer again. Let's increase the density. So now, I mean, I'm less of a fan there. So this is looking okay. We need to offset the UVs. Maybe we don't need to offset the UVs really. I think the fact that this is cutting at the top here is actually a mistake. Because if you look at the use case, it's used as a backdrop. If it has a cut at the top, you're going to notice it. So let's not mimic that mistake and let's just keep it nicely rounded. And so now what we have, I mean, if we want to modify where this is sitting on a UV, then we would do that by moving the element. So now what we have is a similar or the same, or even better in some cases, effect that we can use in the game without importing that huge texture. So that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So that gets that asset out of the way. Let's go and play with the rest of the stuff. So let's make a new user interface widget blueprint. We'll just say w_order tracker. Pop this open. One thing that I want to do is half all the texture sizes of everything that we have here. Because right now we've got like a 2048 by 512. Let's see if we can just say LOD bias is 1. Downscale options is simple average. Is it not going to do anything for me? Why? Compression. User interface. Please change your size down. I would like to shrink you. Let's go simple average here. Here we go. So let's go and apply that change to everything here. Asset actions, when we shift select all of them, edits, property matrix, and then we'll say that we want this to be user interface. We want its texture group, MIPGen settings, LOD bias. I think we just want 1. We just want 1. Just halving them. MIPGen settings, simple average. Yeah. Save all of those. So now when we go and open, say, the tracker mountain, instead of it being 2048 by 512, it's actually 1024 by 256, which is nice. And I think that's plenty. And then if we go and look at the cart, yeah, we've got a little 64 by 64 cart instead of a 120. Sure. Pretty nice. Nice little way of doing optimization on your textures. Let's get this in. So we just drag that into our viewport. Okay. Okay, let's look back at our reference real quick. We've got a vertical box here. So we've got this element, this main element, with a couple of numbers on it, which I'm going to have to figure out a way to do that. I'm going to be a left aligned number that fills the space by the number of days. I actually need to find out how the days are done, but anyway, let's create the vertical box that controls most of this. So we'll wrap this with an overlay. We'll fill that space. We'll put our vertical box in. We'll fill that space. And from the top, we'll go about 50, maybe 80, maybe 100. We'll probably go more than that, to be honest. We'll probably go 120. Let's go 120 here. So now we have this centralized box and we can move this around and it will still retain that sort of space inside. And then we'll get our title in. This will be a center aligned title that will just say delivery incoming in our font color, which is this. Let's go here and make sure that this is the size it's actually going to be on screen. I should probably go here and use desired size, to be honest. This image is 1024 by 512. Whoopsie. By 512. Which is still like pretty huge. What if it was 512 by 256? This comes up, it's kind of small. Okay, we're going to leave it here. Should be fine. Take a look at our vertical box. We've got a little bit too much padding now. Okay. Delivery incoming. Let's change this to the boss text. Very cool. Let's go 42 font. Good. And then for the next section, we're going to need an overlay, which fills the space. And then we're going to need a border. Is going to be this asset with some text inside. It just says X days and XX minutes remaining. We'll do this at around 26 units in the other font that we have. Probably make that bold. And then for this, we'll make it centered. We'll add a little bit of padding to this to make it take up the space that we want it to take up. So in this case, we need top is like 25. Almost 25, cool. Now that actually sits off the bottom of the screen. So to fake that, we're just going to remove the padding. And then we have that space that we want. And then for the overlay, let's create a little bit of padding from the top and bottom. So we'll do 10 by 10. Maybe 20. Okay. And then inside here we've got a couple of things. We've got our... Okay, well we've got a frame. But the frame can change. Got a tracker frame. Well, let's just add the tracker frame 4, for example. We'll just have that take up the space. It's actually not in the right position. Well, let's bring in our mountain as well. Get that lined up. At least they line up, so that's cool. And then we're going to move a cart along this track. So let's just do a quick comparison to our reference. We can see here that the distance between the edges is incorrect, so we're going to need to consider that for a little bit. And then we got these numbers at the bottom that we need to resolve afterwards as well, which we'll get a little example of it in, I think. Let's use inside the vertical box. Let's get a horizontal in here. This is just an example right now. Like, I'm not actually going to leave a bunch of dynamic elements inside this horizontal box, but I am doing it in order to test out the theory of the spacing that I'm going to end up using. And in this case, just other things like what's the padding, etc. So we're going to offset this from the bottom by 20, and we're going to remove the offset from the bottom of the overlay. And like I said before, these two images are actually not the right size to the edges, right? Because of some of the power of 2 scaling. So let's just scale it up. This is actually too far from the top. There we go. Okay, so this is all feeling good. We'll probably have one more image in here. Hugging the right. Example. And then all of these would be left aligned. And offset by their size. So like something. Good enough. Okay, so to do the animation, we're going to actually need a canvas inside of this overlay. This will be the canvas panel for the cart. So let's go bring our cart into that canvas panel. Size it to whatever it wants to be, and we'll just bring it down here. In fact, we need to size it up a little bit. It's a bit small. 64 by 64. Awesome. So it starts on the bottom left here. If we go too low, it starts to modify the size of the parent container. So that's something to be aware of. I wonder if we can wrap this in a size box here. Just to stop that behavior. Okay, I think the scaling is probably messing with it a little bit. Oops. There we go. So now we can move this however we want. In fact, we could probably set that size box to just be 10 by 10 units in the top left. And it won't matter because now we're just going to move the image around. Okay, and now it's not affecting the size of the parent, so we can put this right over here if we want. Okay, so for the animation, what I'm going to do is a 0 to 1 timeline that spans the whole thing, and then I'm going to map that range when we play the animation, and we'll basically scrub along the bar based on actually how close we are to the days remaining. So here what we'll have is anim_cart, for example, and so we start at position X and Y over here on the left, and we end at position at 1 second. We end over here. So now what we have is we just move across the timeline, which is cool. Let's change the Y here and just pin that. And so now the next thing to do is just, since we have the linear 0 to 1, and we need to make sure that is actually linear, so we're not smoothing up and down. Yeah. So there's no smooth in or smooth out. That's what we want. And then we just sort of scrub around to the point where we want to change the frame, or the way the frame sits. So around here, and then I'll just move this up, keyframe it, move along. Down. And you can see how this is going to go. So basically just this is the process. And so now what we have is a timeline from 0 to 1 that we can map to the range of the actual days, and we can have that move along the little mountain. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So save this. It's looking pretty good. Okay, so the next thing, we need to take this horizontal box here, which is just days, and we need to make sure that this image in the background for the track is easy to edit as well. So we'll set this to a variable, and we'll set the horizontal box days to a variable. And now if we just go in and make a function called set delivery duration, for example, and I don't know what the input is actually going to be. Let's go and see if we can find out. Let's actually go see if we can discover what it will be. Order debug. There's an order debug UI. We've got an order here inside of a order processing list. Let's find the references to that. Clear children, that's fine. And in here we've got an add child, item order, delivery time, add. We do care about that. So this just says 5 seconds. Add order to process. We do care about that. Alter resource was renamed or removed. That's a shame. That's how I used to do things. Let's go and check out the new order UI and see if that one's also broken. This used to be a really clean widget. Stored items. This is just going to take me a minute. Okay, so what was I trying to do? I was trying to determine how the time was done. Either way, the end point is there is a delivery time, and then there was a processing order delivery here in the debug, and all it does, I assume, is count down. Yeah, playback speed is doing exactly what I'm going to do, which is it takes the delivery time, divides it, and then just plays it that way. I'm going to do exactly the same as the debug for now, and if it needs to change in the future for like saving and loading, then we'll worry about that. So what we do is we divide 1 divided by here, and then we play an animation. And the animation is our anim_cart, and it just plays over that duration. Just plays one loop here, and then let's have a look. So the other thing that I want to do is this delivery time here. I'm just going to put a comment that just says I'm using a range of 5 seconds to change the frame. Your mileage may vary because basically the time is obviously not going to be 5 seconds, it's going to be 5 days, and then it's how does that map to real game time. So right now, yeah, we don't really know what the answer is. So we're just going to leave it here as a MoGraphed element, and then we'll let the programmers decide how they want to play with it. But basically what we can do is take that delivery time, and in this case we'll just say how many ones how many ones go in there. And then we'll take the image frame and we'll set the texture. Set brush from texture is fine. And we'll select if the result is more than... Okay, so what options do we have actually? Is the next main thing. We've got this 4 here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So basically if it's... If it's more than or equal to 4 days, in fact, I could just, yeah, we'll figure it out. So days here, and then we would use this one if that was true, and then otherwise we're going to ask if it was something else, and then something else again, and then something else again, and we'll just keep going that way through this selector node. And that will set us up for the image. Okay, so is it more than or equal to 3? Then we'll use the 3-day one. It's like, okay, is it more than equal to 2? And if it is, we'll use number 2, otherwise we'll use number 1. Try and clean this up a little bit. More readable, maybe. I'll do. Okay. It's pretty clear what's going on there, and then the next thing to do would be to take the horizontal days, clear all the children, and when we divide this, we'll take whatever is smaller, this or 4, and then loop that -1. So the idea of this next section is to clear the horizontal here at the bottom that holds these numbers. And if we're 4 days, actually we want 5 elements if we're 4 days, so we don't need to do the -1. If we're 3 days, we need 4 elements. If we're 2 days, we need 3 elements. If we're 1 day, we need 2 elements, the 0 and the 1. And if we're 0, if we're 0 days, we need 2 elements because that's still 1 day. There is at least a minimum amount of time, so that'll be fine. But we shouldn't need the -1. So let's go here. It's like construct the numbers, basically. So let's take a look at this. So as we construct these numbers, okay, what have we got now? We've got delivery time. Let's say it's 0.5. It comes out as 0, 0, index 0. Should be fine. Let's construct an object, which will be a text. Okay. That'll be a pain. I'm going to have to go find it. Construct a text. Outer object is self. Don't think I can change the settings from here, so we'll have to set the font directly, like so. Promote this to a variable. It's just the easiest way to do this. So I can go and take the font from here. Just paste it in. And then set the color. Which in this case will be easier because it's part of my palette, so we'll just take that. And then we'll add it to the horizontal box. Add child to horizontal. We'll add that text block and set the horizontal alignment to fill. Set the horizontal, or set the size, sorry, to fill. Set the alignment to left. Except the last element. Which the easiest way to do this will just be to say get children, or get child at, get children, count. It's 5 children, get the child at 5 minus 1. Cast that to text. Block? No, just text. Okay. Let me just double check something. This is a text block. Which I think just the display name is text, so this is correct. Cast it to text block. Slot as... Actually, we don't even need to do that. We just get the slot as horizontal. And then we set the size to auto for the last element. That's the test that we did earlier. This element to sit at the very end is just auto-sized at the end, and then every other element is set technically to fill the space, right? We're just left aligning it. Okay, so there's that. We do want to set the padding on all of these. I think, was there a padding? Or I think it was a transform. Yeah, 5 units to the right. So set translate. It's probably the slot that we translate. No? The actual element. Set render translation. Set that by 5. Okay. So that's everything. That should technically be everything, although we do need to set the text, I suppose. Set text. We'll just use the index. Let's just move everything over a little bit. HR doesn't need applause. They surely do. They surely do. Okay, so we'll compile that. And over in our event graph on our pre-construct, let's actually just do a little branch here. And then set delivery time to, and we'll just say, you know what? We'll actually just run it. And we'll expose this delivery time. Expose on spawn, and we'll create a set delivery. Oh, we've already got the set delivery duration, so we'll update delivery duration, and then set delivery duration here. We'll set this like so, and then we will update the delivery duration. And in this case, we're using delivery time literally everywhere in this function. Which is bloody annoying. I'd prefer not to. Not have a local version that we're using. That should be everything. Just make sure that this local variable is removed. Update delivery duration, event log here, update delivery duration, cool. Alright, so we'll see. 4, 3, 2, 1. So you can see here we have the 0 to 1 on the timeline. We've got a 0.5 here. We can play our timeline, which will be like 1 day. We actually don't have the 1 at the end here, I've realised. We only get that at 1.5. So it does need to be +1 in our code here. Let's just add a +1. All that. Now this is this broke now? I can't tell. 1. Yeah, awesome. 0.5. 1.5. It's 2 days. Yeah, so now this is messed up. Is it? Let's go check that one more time. 0, 1. Just 1 day. Cool. 2.5. 2.5 days, please. Yeah, so this is wrong. It needs to be the next one up. If we're at 1.5, it needs to be at least 2 long. Okay. So we need to add 1 to everything. Awesome. Let's try that. Alright, so let's go 0.5. Okay, cool. 1 day, yeah. 1.5. 2.5, 3. 3 days, yeah. We got 4. 3.5, 4. 4.5, yeah. Okay, so 43.5, yeah. Well, that's not going to work. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you can go up to 4 days for delivery. Can't go any higher than that right now, and that's fine. That was what was defined in the specs, so we have that. And we have this little timeline here, so that's pretty cool. Let's, we need to test it. We also need to set this, X days and minutes remaining. Underscore remaining. So we need an update here. Update delivery text time. Do text block remaining, set text. We'll use a format text in here. It'll be days, and minutes remaining. I believe. Days and minutes remaining. Okay, so what I like to do for this is from seconds. Split. Days, minutes. Alright. The next thing to do would be to get a little close button on this, because otherwise you can't close it. So let's go and steal that from here. It's on the right at the bottom. And we'll actually put it behind everything else. Hide everything else. Cool, and then we'll just offset that to align it how we want. And then we'll go and play with that exit button. Just been messaged. 2 seconds, please. Okay, so when we exit this, we want to remove it from parent. It's pretty simple. We may also want to go, let's open up the BP HUD here. Okay, new function, create order tracker widget. I'm going to call it create the order tracker sidebar. Essentially what I want to do is create a new user widget, blueprint, widget underscore order tracker sidebar, which contains an order tracker in somewhere. Let's go desired size here. So that's the little X button. And on the right hand side, what I want to do is add not an exit button, but an open button. Put this at the bottom and offset this up a little bit and off and to the left. And the icon for this will be the cart. So what we need is a little note. I think there is a little note in another asset somewhere. No, not here. Yeah, these ones. So we're going to use this, and then we're going to use the cart. Follow that. So there it is. Let's just change the size of it. Doesn't have padding. Let's change the size of the button. Wrap with size box. Yeah. Take this translation and reset it and apply it to this scale box or size box rather. Yeah, that's really annoying. Let's go and edit this button. That image should be centered, and it is centered. Why doesn't it work the way I want it to work? Why is there an icon option at all? Oh, so that it changes the color of it when you hover it. Makes sense. I see what I've done wrong here. I do not need to wrap this. There we go. I was just being dumb. Just being dumb. Just angle this a little bit for fun, because this project likes to do that. Okay, so now we've got this little button that we can press. It's actually too little. Let's increase it to 96 by 96. No, let's not do that. Sure. Let's do this by 120 by 120. Let's move this off a little bit. Okay. So this... Yeah. let's maybe not angle it because it's kind of ruining some things. Okay, so we got this here, which is the button open. So let's hit that. Tracker should just update itself, which is fine. Right. Random underscore open. In here, what we kind of want to do is essentially slide this off the right. Like this by default. And then when we want to reveal it, just reset that. We can't actually see the close button, which is funny. Probably for the best. Would actually want to bring this off to the right slightly. Go and mess with the curve. Make that curve nice.
There's DIY, and there's doing it yourself. It's the difference between being creative and being a creator. Between a homemade recipe and a household name. Between a daydream and a dream job. It's your business, your hard work. You do it yourself. Create your website on Wix.
Okay. Cool. Okay, and then
presentation you have to finish? Well, it's not going to write itself.
1.4, I believe it was.
All the pings, boops, and bops. You need writing help that cuts through the noise.
1010.
That's where Grammarly comes in. With an AI chat that helps you meet every moment. See? No sweat. Need your writing to sound more knowledgeable or precise? Or would generated text more everyday? With Grammarly's Humanizer, it's easy to nail just the right tone. No more second guessing.
And when we press that button,
sound okay?
we just need to flip-flop between that. So
an audience's response, perhaps from someone important.
Ooh, that's great. Real me loves a solid timeline.
With Grammarly's reader reactions, you can do
animation
just
forward.
And these updates are exactly how we'll deliver.
Solid timeline.
Play in reverse.
These tools are just the beginning, because good writing fuels great ideas.
And then what we want as well is in our order tracker here, just some sort of event dispatcher that says timeline complete, which we can use finished animation, event on animation finished, or finished anim cart, for example. And we can just have timeline complete here. And for now, because I don't have a design, I'm just going to use that to close the UI. In this case, we'll do remove parent. Okay. Now, let's use the order tracker here. Remove from parent, and we'll just type test. Get BP HUD. No, get owning player. Get owning player here. Get the HUD. Cast BP HUD. I mean, it should just be like this anyway. Create tracker sidebar. create widget. Actually, we are going to need to track this basically. Order tracker sidebar, promote to variable. Order tracker sidebar ref. If that is not valid, we will create it. Otherwise, if it is valid, I don't know. Maybe we just add it to the viewport. Return. May as well return a reference to it. Okay. When we create that, we need to add it to the viewport. Add it to the viewport. The way that this game actually does this, to keep things, I guess, simpler, quote, is for the sidebar, for example, they would actually have an overlay here. Wrap this with a full screen overlay. So it would just be full screen. And then you would just organize this how you want it to be. So here we can see that this is actually overlapping, so it's wrong. 014. What we can do to test this a little bit better as well is we could clip this to bounds. Clip this one to bounce. So we can see what this actually looks like on the side of the screen. You can see there's just a little bit clipping off the top there. And what I want to do here is just reduce this image a little. Okay, so that slides out. Whoop. And then that should just be animating, which is cool, and then you can slide it away again. We hope. Yep, there we go. So let's try that real quick. Everything is broken, apparently. Ignore that, ignore that, ignore that. The order log is immediately online. Start this, that's broke. Close this. There's been a merge today, and doesn't look like it's gone too well. So everything is broken. How are we gonna? We can't test it basically. So we're just gonna leave it there. Pretty cool. Shame about the merge. Yeah, there's a bunch of compile errors all over the place. Yeah, so we create this order tracker sidebar. And that will just get drawn on screen, added to the viewport, and then you can click the little button to slide it out, which is cool. Just make sure that we're actually drawing the right one. Create the order tracker, creates the sidebar, which has this button, which when you press it, slides the delivery out, and then you can close it again by clicking the same button, which just returns it to here, or should do. Play forward, play back. Yeah. Cool. And then we have in that order tracker as well, we have some cool little animations for driving this truck over the mountains to get to the Winterreach Emporium, and we have the ability to do different number of days on here, which is cool. Nice little bit of simple MoGraph for today. So I'm gonna save that, Luckily this is a brand new file, so it's not going to affect anything in the code. And that's been me on Implementati, and I will see you in another one. Thanks for joining.